Hey, welcome back, Goat Rodeo Archery community. We are so glad to have you with us today, and we're glad to have one of our very good friends, Corey Linebaugh, known to us as Real. I'm going to talk today a little bit about how we got to know him, his life kind of before Goat Rodeo and post Goat Rodeo, and man, a lot of great stories in between. But why don't you take us back, Corey, to where the three of us first met?
Where it all began. Oh man. Well, thank you guys for having me on the podcast. I'm so excited to tell stories about the meeting goat and rodeo and just some of the shenanigans that we got into. But so it all started, honestly, it all started with Men's Alliance. My brother brought me to Men's Alliance and yeah, I laid eyes on you guys on day one. I was like, oh, those dudes, I saw some First Light swag and some different stuff running around. I was like, okay, identifying my people out here. And I never had people prior to this.
Mm.
So, recognizing these things. But yeah, Men's Alliance was I guess the seed of all this. And that was just right on the heels of me coming out of a season of no community.
Yeah.
So, really, that was kind of the gateway to all the things that would be, real goat rodeo. So,
So I'll ask you the first question right there. So um, I'm gonna date this. It was like maybe 3 years ago, something like that,
mhm.
maybe four, I forget.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
like you're saying that you're in a season of no community. That puts you in like your late 30s, right? You're
Mhm.
you're married, you have a wonderful wife, beautiful kids, but yet you're saying that you were in a season of isolation. Like why were you isolated at
Yeah.
such a young age, with a you know a blossoming family?
Yeah. So I was absolutely laser focused on building business, massive success, achieving all the goals. My goal was I'm going to drive my kids to school by the time they're in grade school. That's the goal. I'll be done. I'll be done working. So, and that whole focus came from, just a lifetime of feeling inadequate, feeling unseen. And, I wasn't isolated. I was captain of the wrestling team. I was a great student. I had a lot of friends, but, um, I was isolating in plain sight. I was always just reaching for that next thing and, trying to not even comparing myself to anyone or anything, but just, fighting this battle right here. Like I got to get to this next thing. And I just put so much pressure on myself that there was no time to maintain, those relationships, and nobody can keep up. I got to keep going, and it was selfish. And, in hindsight, it's super easy to see, and I'm going to get the beautiful wife. I'm going to have the kids. I'm going to build the business, and then I'll be driving them to school, and I'll have and do whatever I want for the rest of my life. I mean, it was that simple. And
Mm.
it was a trap.
It is.
Yeah.
It's funny how it's not funny. But we start doing the thing that we were meant to do, right? You're created
Mhm.
to work, to build things with your hand, and we go down that pathway, and we get so hyper focused on doing what's expected of us, right? And what we think the American dream is, and your expectations of community, I think, fade away. So,
Mhm.
like, I hate to overuse the word, but I think expectations is my word for the year, where, you start off with this expectation that if I do everything right, it's going to turn into an amazing success story. But
Mm.
as you go down that pathway, you don't realize, you don't reevaluate, right? You're not agile in your thinking. So you
Mhm.
keep going down the pathway. It's not going well, but you never reevaluate. So the next
Mhm.
thing you know, you're in isolation and maybe not even realizing that you're in isolation,
Right.
right? So like,
But it looks like it's
so
going well.
yeah,
That's the
seems like it's
trap.
going well,
Yeah.
right? But when did you first like discover or start to get that inkling that I was in isolation, right? That's
Oh man. Yeah. So probably in about my third year of business. I started a business back in 2016, 2017. And starting out, it was awesome. I was like, I'm going to win this. I'm going to do this, and I'm swinging for the fences. I'm just full of confidence, and I went at it 100 miles an hour. Made a lot of stupid mistakes, but I learned, and I just kept adapting, and just I love the game. I was like, man, I'm really I'm understanding it, and I'm succeeding, and I needed that validation, and so about 3 years in, the business was just it was doing really well. It was thriving. I was hiring my friends, and I was gaining a good corner on the market locally, and then spreading out. And I was in several counties and across state lines, and I was really I was loving it. But then I took probably a year or two off from going out west elk hunting to really pour into that business. And the next time I went out west, I think was 2018. So yeah, I skipped 2016 and 2017, went out in 2018, and I spent like 22 days in the backcountry. Um, just and when I came out of the backcountry on that trip, I had landed the biggest contract that my business would land, in the first few years of operations, and it was the best. I was like, this is it. I'm coming off this big hunt. We had a baby coming. The business is booming. Everything's perfect, and that big win, that huge win, about 3 years in, um, that growth. I just all of a sudden I was an owner operator up until that point. I'm running the business. I'm working in the business. I'm working on the business. Slowly, I don't have time to shoot my bow. I don't have time to go fly
Hmm.
fishing with my dad. I don't have time to take my wife on that date night because I'm busy. I'm working, and then I'm working on the business, and then and that was a very slow erosion, very slow. Didn't notice it, and then maybe another year or two of that. So now we're at like 2020. COVID hits, right? COVID hits, and I'm at the peak of my business. I mean, we are just crushing it, and we take like 8 or 10 weeks off because most of my business was in elective surgery, and they shut us down, right? So complete standstill, and in that time, I'm like, I'm out, I'm building tree forts for the kids, and I'm like, I mean, we're having a blast, and I'm living my life for the first time in
Yeah.
years, and that's when the light went off, and ironically, about a week later, I broke my hand, like 7 different bones in my hand, and that would be um, kind of a turning point for me. It would start a whole nother thing. So
Yeah. Yeah. So we met the first time I was exposed to you. It was the picture holding the king. A friend at church was like, "Hey, like this guy's Corey Linebaugh's brother, and you're standing there holding this what I didn't realize was a deadhead."
yeah,
And I'm
yeah,
like, "Holy cow! I need to meet this guy." And so we struck up a conversation and started talking elk.
yeah,
And eventually, we started really about talking elk. That like we may go follow you up the mountain. So talk about that on from your end.
yeah. So, man, I remember that well because I was dead set on going out to Idaho alone again. It was just my
Mm,
I was ready to go. Like, and I never had really any buddies to go with me. I only had my family. And I love going with my dad. I love going with my brothers. But my brother was, really big working in his business. He just didn't have the time, and he had young kids in several sports. My twin brother had lost interest in going out west for a season, and my dad was getting his hip replaced. So I'm like, I got nobody to go out west with. And now I know some guys that want to go out west, and I thought, like, how cool would it be to take some guys out west, and
yeah.
show them this place that's so special to me. And I mean, it's a place I went to Idaho archery elk hunting from 2012 all the way, except for those 1 or 2 seasons that I missed. I mean, I went every year, all the way till now.
Yeah.
So I was very excited to take people in the place that I know.
What's really difficult, and I don't know if you've ever experienced this because if I remember right, your dad or your grandfather found that location, right?
Yeah.
Just by, research and experience and stuff like that. They found that location. And
Yeah.
so how old were you when they started going out there?
Oh man. If I wasn't in diapers, I was fresh out of diapers probably when my grandfather started going there. In fact, he probably went before I was even born with his brothers and his business buddies. So he found the guide out there. He was searching for a place to go mule deer hunting, and the guide was a straight shooter. Told him, my grandfather wanted to take like 8 guys out, and the guide shot straight with him and said, I don't know if I can get everybody a mule deer here, but I can. I'm sure going to try. And they had a really cool relationship, writing back and forth, of course. And
Yeah.
I've seen some of those letters, and they're just great. But
Oh,
he ends
wow.
up going out to this place with his buddies and falls in love with it. Starts taking my grandmother there in the summers fly fishing, and then my dad, and then later my dad takes my brother and eventually spread my grandfather's ashes out there. And uh,
So like Rodeo grew up on private land, right? So he had that opportunity to hunt, farmland. I grew up on public land. So a lot of times, like, so that, and my point, which I'll get to eventually, give me time. um, the asking to go along with somebody can go
Yeah.
horribly wrong, right? It can go really well, like it did with you, but it's like such a stressor to be able to say, hey, you have this thing worked out. What do you think about, letting us come along for free? Like we didn't earn it. You know what I mean? Like your
Yeah.
grandfather earned finding a spot, and then he gave it to your dad, and his dad gave it to you. So I mean, technically, you didn't earn it either, but it's still
yeah,
yours. It's in your
right,
family. And then here are these two
Yeah.
guys that are like, oh, I got these chuckleheads that are just looking for a free ride.
yeah,
So it's at least that's the perspective I walk away with when I'm doing the asking. I'm like, I feel like such a beggar
yeah,
right now. But at the same time, and to respect your area, your space, to let that still be sacred to you. But we want to join in with you and go into that community. It's if it's done lightly, it's disrespectful. If it's done too respectfully, it's not even done. If that makes sense, right? Because you're like,
mhm,
I know that's Corey's thing. I'm not going to touch it. I'm not going to ask him to go. That's his. Like we'll just let him go. So for me, and I don't know from Rodeo's perspective, but for me, it's like it's difficult to ask somebody to go along. Like
mhm,
because it seems so selfish, right? But
mhm.
I don't know, did it come off like we were like pushy on that one?
Well, no. So the irony there is, I would never ask anyone either, ever. Like, it's just total. I just wouldn't do it. But
Yeah.
I was so excited to ask you guys to come. Like I wanted genuinely to share that place with the right person, and it had to be like in my mind. Like I wouldn't just go and find anybody who bow hunts and say, "Hey, come out. You got to come out to this place and check this out. It's so special to me." I wanted to find someone who understood the weight of what this means, where I'm taking you. Like
Yeah.
you've seen the fruit of the land. you know
Hmm.
um like I wanted to take somebody there who would be as awestruck by the
Yeah.
experience as I still am, to this day. and
Yeah.
and also I'm looking at these guys, and again, I'm in isolation right up to this point. I don't have anybody's, outside of family. And I see Goat and Rodeo running around shooting bows and running circles around all the young cats. And I was like, man, these guys, like, they're the real deal, And then the winter challenge and stuff, I was like, these guys, like, they can hang on a mountain. This is going to be fun. Like, I want someone who's going to push
Yeah.
me up the mountain, And um, it just, I was so excited for the opportunity to see you guys on the mountain in that environment and with those exchanges that we got into with elk. Like, and I'm a storyteller, so I didn't know how much of this you guys were going to believe, other than I had some evidence, you know, some pictures and
Yeah.
like you guys
That's
put
all
a
Yeah.
right.
lot
That's
of
I don't
trust in
think
me.
I don't think I fully comprehended, you know, what we were getting invited into. I had only been I guess we went once before. I went with you in Colorado, Goat, and I mean, we hunted for a week and we saw one spike on public land. You know, and then man, that that first night in Idaho, I came back and I texted my wife. I was like, "This is elk heaven." I mean, it was just mind blowing. But then, as you walked us all over those mountains, um, and told the stories, and not just the elk stories, but your personal stories, your encounters with God. I mean, to understand that sacred space and to be there with someone whose soul is entwined with that land, just that was phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. So we want to. How about your favorite story from that trip?
Oh man,
You want to dig
there's
into
so
that?
many,
There are many.
so many. Well, so two things came to mind right away. So I'm going to go with the first two. Right. One of them is basically I'm taking rodeo up to the wallow the first night. Right. Like
Oh,
so we're going up to the
yeah.
wallow, and I'm trying to tell you guys like, okay, like here's the wallows. There's a bench here and a bench here, and we'll just run up there and we'll just get a good look. Maybe we'll see where the elk are. And I'm just not expecting to walk into elk right now. Like I'm thinking they're going to be up on the mountain, and like all of a sudden Rodeo's freaking out. I mean, he's ready to shoot me, I think, to lay me down so I don't blow his operation, right?
Yeah.
I'm like half blind without glasses on, so I didn't see there's a slammer bull just
Yeah.
walking straight to us. I mean, like bull of your
Yeah.
dreams walking straight to us 1 hour into our elk hunt, you
Yeah.
know?
We haven't even arrived at the first spot we wanted to hunt. We were still
Yeah.
on the way.
Yeah.
It,
And
it's
Rodeo basically, he just yanks me back into the brush. He's like going like this, he's freaking out, and I'm like, "Where's it at?" And I look out, it's like right in front of us, just walking right to us. I just was
yeah.
not looking that direction, and so that was super fun. And one of the funniest memories that I have of that trip, honestly, was the last day when you came walking up the horse trail, and I had that whole pile of fish from fly
Oh.
fishing. And I just thought I'll keep a couple fish just in case. I don't know if they're catching any or not, so I'll just keep a couple. So I brought two fish each. Right, I was like, I'll get us each a fish. Right, and Rodeo comes rolling up over the horse trail, and his head pops over the trail, and he takes his hat up and throws it on the ground, just starts stomping on it.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh, because like the elk stories. You told us the fishing stories too, and like I really thought I was gonna catch my first trout on a fly rod, and like this, I'm just gonna like dip it in and pull it out. And
Yeah, yeah.
I tried. I mean, it was like 2 hours, and
I
I didn't
say
get a single bite. I come up
I
and
haven't
you got
slept.
six
I
on a
sent you the
stringer.
wrong way. I have guilt the rest of my life. I
And
saved
you
them all
sent
for
Well,
us down
myself.
into the brambles and the brush that you couldn't possibly fish in. He's up
yes.
Yeah,
there
Well,
on that nice little corner
it's
peninsula, just
wide
having a
open.
blast. Yeah,
you
wide
did you
open,
did
30
make it
foot
up by
cast.
dropping the waypoint. We were able to catch, or I was able to catch some this year,
Yeah,
with your waypoint. So
yeah,
Yeah.
you
that
made it
was
up to
cool.
me.
Well, right above where you guys had spotted that elk this past year, another wallow opened up. Um, and when you got up to that, the wind up there was like ridiculous. It's like
Mhm.
the perfect place. There is no way to get anywhere near it
Yeah,
and ever hunt it successfully. It's just you're gonna get busted no matter what. It's almost like the elk are just making fun of you. Like, go ahead, try and get into my
oh,
spot. You're not gonna succeed. But that
you
was
know
so
what?
we got to spend like 30, man, what, 37 hours in the
Yeah,
car
that
out
was
Mhm.
one
and
way.
back, right?
Yeah.
So we talked up a storm um, the whole way out and the whole way back. And those conversations range all the way from, basically bathroom stops to theology, 201.
That
And
burrito.
then,
Burrito.
yeah,
Oh, the burritos.
oh, the Moab burritos.
Yes.
Like every time now it's like I'm Pavlov's dog. If I see a Maverick, I have to pull in and get a burrito, maybe two, shove one in the backpack, live off of those things. So
Man.
I was out in Arizona in January with my son, and there's a Maverick, and I'm like, here we go, breakfast heaven, right? I go rolling in there. I pick up a green chili and sausage burrito. I'm like, this is going to be amazing, and it wasn't. Like, meaning like when I started eating it, it wasn't green chili and sausage. It was some other aberration. They mislabeled it, and it was like, I don't know. I think I still have PTSD from it. It was just it just took away every ounce of any Maverick admiration that I had. I have to go find another one now and just kind of rebuild the trust.
Yep.
I went
Maverick
out
is
on a
awesome.
high note.
We need to bring those. We need to bring those east, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember. I think it was like morning 2 or 3. You guys headed out, and I was just in that funky groove that I'm always in the first 1 or 2 days of the hunt. So I just stayed in camp. I was in my Crocs, had my bow, made coffee, and I just sat down with a journal and just started writing. And the idea was, if something walks by, that's great. I can shoot it, but otherwise, I just need to get a whole bunch of thoughts out here on paper. And it's like it's hard to explain, like, to people that have never been um, that far out of touch, if you will. Meaning, it's like, we rode horses in. We got dropped off, little spike camp, and then the guy takes off. The only way out of there is by horse or by helicopter. There's no motorcycles. There's no ATV trails or anything like that. You are there until you get carried out, right? But then you have that amazing, like, quiet. Your ears are just ringing by the end of the day because there's no noise. Luckily, we were next to a rushing creek the entire time, so I mean that's something that having fresh water nearby is always grateful to have. But like, just to be able to sit down there and feel the peace of the mountains, right? Like, there's respect for the mountains, right? There's respect for the critters that are out there that are bigger than you. There's respect for the fact that if you trip and fall, you're gonna be just a fall, just a finger cut, anything could really be a big hassle in getting in and out of there. So you have that respect, but at the same time, there's like, you have nothing else to think about. There's no possibility of a phone call. There's no possibility of a text or an email. It's like, basically it's you and the hunt, and that's it, right? And to be able to share with you guys, what's going on, but just every day, just to have that basic primal functionality. I'm going to get up. I'm going to go try and kill something. I'm going to come back, right? I'm going to sleep. I'm going to get up. I'm going to do it again. But yeah, I don't know what it was about that place. It was very peaceful most of the time. Obviously there's times when the stairway to heaven sidewalk or whatever you called it, knocks you on your butt. But we were in elk almost every day.
Yeah.
Like, I think there was one day where we did not see an elk, which is so uplifting. When you're out there, it was at least 1,000-foot climb every day that you were doing just from base camp, right? 1,000 foot to get somewhere, and then you're up and down, playing the wind, playing the heat, stuff like that. And we didn't do the, go back to camp at lunchtime, take a nap kind of thing. This was like, you get up in the morning, you go, you come back, it's dark,
Or you don't come back.
or you don't come back. But it's just it's a hard hunt. I mean, but like, day one, you're like, oh, it's day one. We got 9 more days of this, or 10 more days, and then day two, you're into it. Day 3, you forget what day it is. Day 4, 5, 6, 7, you're like, what day is it, man? Like, what are we doing today?
Together.
Yeah. To me, that, like, I was just so grateful that you shared that experience with us. Your knowledge of where, like, the canyons were, where the elk were, what they would do. I think it was like day two. I think we were up there on top of that one canyon, and just like that elk smell just blowing up the hill in
Yeah.
your face, and we're just raking trees and calling and stuff, and it's just, oh man, I wish I could go back to that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so it was after that we did our first tack together, right? Is that true?
Yeah.
Is my timeline
Yeah.
screwed up?
No, I think the first tack was after that hunt.
Yeah,
For
Because
you,
then I went
yeah.
again with you last year. Yeah.
right.
Right.
Yeah, we go to the Seven Springs PA tack. It is the most attended total archery challenge, I think, in their series.
Mhm.
It is amazing. It's just it's a great time. We were we were lucky for many years to be able to rent a condo at the top of the mountain. We've lost it this year, and the guy that we were renting it off of decided to sell it. The new guys had some issues, weren't ready to rent it out, so we had to change our plans this year. But you know that um, that time that we get, it's just we pack like 8 guys into the condo, and we go up Thursday night, we shoot Friday, Saturday, Sunday morning, and then we head out. How is that community different than, say, the 3 guys trapped on a mountainside with you?
Yes, yeah, that was a game changer for me because I shot my bow. Honestly, I mean, my dad got me a bow probably shortly after I started walking. And I mean, I remember shooting a bow my entire life with my brothers, just all the time, but I never shot 3D. I never, I mean, in the yard, of course, but I never went and shot competitions or courses or anything like that. And I knew that you guys had been doing, some competitions and different things over the summer, and I was fascinated, but I was like, I've never done that. And then you invited me to tack, and that was like another elk hunt for me. Like I told my wife, like when I came back from that, I said that was right up there with like an elk hunt for me. Like I had so much fun, and just shooting all the time, the environment, the energy, the heckling. Um, just thinking about those pants. Um, but
Burpees
like,
on the cliff.
yeah,
Uh,
just like I'd never experienced community like that. Like I never got to go and shoot like that or do anything like that. And it was all things that I loved. So to be able to do it with all these guys who are interested in the same things I'm interested in, um, not just with like hunting and archery, but also like these are dudes who are serving as role models and mentors to me, right? Like I'm the guys that you guys take to tack, short of not really knowing Bill very well, just coming into it, I felt like I had strong relationships with all the guys, and and then even getting to know Dave more, he lives right here nearby me, fishes the creeks right here in my backyard. So like just awesome new relationships.
mhm.
Really cool to be around guys who are the conversations are all moving each one of us forward. We're not going
Yeah.
there, partying and doing stupid stuff. It's, we're going there and we're sharpening each other, and we're also busting each other's chops and having a great time. So it
Yeah,
was
the trash
awesome.
talk does reach awesome levels. I will admit to that. Yeah,
For
that's
sure.
yeah that man, I forget how many years we've been going to that, but just originally went up with my brother, a couple of his friends, some other people. That's how we found the condo. And just watching the people come and go. Sometimes it's fathers and sons. Then the sons drift off, and then the fathers are there. But it is. It's like I so look forward to that weekend. I don't know why, because like maybe it's the obscene amount of money that we sometimes spend down in the down in
The
the
village.
market area. But
Yeah.
even so, just getting to talk to the people down there. I remember the first year. I think it was the first year that Chris went.
Yeah.
The rodeo went, and that was the first year that Dudley showed up. Was that
Yeah.
the one? And
Yeah.
you and Pops are such fanboys. It was.
Yeah, I'm
It
like,
was
I like watched all his videos. Like I was like, oh my goodness, like this guy's amazing. He's just giving all this information away. And but yeah,
but that,
I
that was
was
funny
he was
because
just like right there.
yeah, I remember how like Pops got his picture taken with him, and he was just so happy about that. And he's what, like 6'3", 6'4", or something like that, and
Yeah.
Pops isn't.
Yeah.
But last year it was that freaking mud bath. You couldn't walk through the
Oh,
general area without fear of death and falling. But it was I wouldn't give those memories up for anything. That's just so much
no
fun.
way.
But
Yeah.
so after the first year, I think we talked you into the Go Rodeo challenge
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
summer. I'm
Yeah.
going to
So
say that
I,
that was the first time you've ever done anything like that.
Yeah, so I knew about the challenges you guys had shot the previous summer, and that's the first that I even heard that existed. I had no idea. I didn't know you could run and do hard stuff and shoot your bow and put clays on 3D targets. None of this had crossed my radar, So I was like just chomping at the bit, excited for you guys to get Goat Rodeo going, to bring it on home. Real is ready to compete. I want to get out there, and I had just had, elk hunting and the tack experience, and this
Mhm.
was just gonna and MA, Men's Alliance, bring it all together. We're gonna mash it into one weekend, and then even to have, you guys just super clever, had us doing the old litter carry and some things inspired by our elk hunt, and just I felt like not only did I feel the community and the connection with all the people there, especially as we struggle through these courses and challenges. But having had those experiences with you guys directly in that season prior elk hunting, it just made it that much more impactful and special for me to, know like, wow, like these are real lived experiences that are translating here, for these people to experience like a taste of what happened, in the backcountry. And it was just exciting and fun. And and I mean, I don't know. I mean, I had a blast with it. I had an awesome season of life over Goat Rodeo where I was just chilling, and I was assuming other people's wardrobes and trash talking, and
Oh, that was
really just
hilarious.
I had a
Yeah,
lot
so
of fun with
somehow
it.
you managed to like replicate all these other guys' wardrobes that when you came out to shoot against them,
I would be wearing their
you were
exact
dressed as
outfit.
them. And it was hilarious. Like I was like, how in the world is he even doing this? Like, did you have like some behind the scenes costume help? Like
I mean,
people rifling through other people's trucks? Or how did you do that?
I had some help. I had a little help. So I mean, I was paying attention. I was taking notes, and I ran home the first night, and I geared up. I noticed like who I was up against, and I did have some help though, like a couple like Torque with his no sleeves. One of the dudes just he took his shirt right out of his truck and he tore the sleeves off and threw it to me right before I went out to face him in the competition head to head. And so I had some help, but it was fun. Just added
Yeah.
some flavor.
It, talk about the community that came out of that, like especially this group chat that Goat and I are not allowed to know anything about. Tell
Yeah,
us
yeah.
tell us some of the secrets there, the camaraderie, the relationships. What's coming out of that beyond that weekend for you?
Yeah, so I think so we created a Goat Rodeo thread, a group text, and all the guys that go to Goat Rodeo except for Goat and Rodeo are in it. So and in fact, man, I'll have to look this one up, but there's a buy-in. If you guys ever do want in on that, there is a buy-in, and it's pretty hefty. It involves grindhouse tattoos.
Oh
Uh,
gosh.
well,
Wait
hold
a
on,
minute. Is there something we don't know about you?
yeah, both of you guys are like ink free. What are you talking about? How did you?
Hey, look, I had I don't know, maybe I had a couple extra wins. They felt obliged to pull me in there. I don't know. So
Yeah,
no,
that's cool.
no, no, I don't have any champion coasters. Just so we're clear, I know they're gonna watch this. I don't have any champion first place coasters. Every time they send a video to the Goat Rodeo chat, they hide one of the champion coasters in the video. So it's like my Where's Waldo every Wednesday. I try and find the coaster. So
That's great.
But yeah, great sense of community. We keep a group chat going and we check in with each other every Wednesday. Just a quick little video update. Not all things archery. It's life. We're pushing each other to stay focused, just keep your head straight, be shooting your bow, taking care of your family, taking care of your faith, and just, being a good man. And
Mhm.
they're just good influences on me. And, I try to give back. So try
Yeah.
and not only trash talk them, but
Then
Yeah,
can
I
you
found
talk a
out
little bit
this.
about, oh, go
Okay.
ahead, Goat.
I was just good. I went down to Big Truck this morning to just talk to Kobe and pick up some stuff for the prize table that I can't tell you about. But he tells me, oh, by the way, Torque and Wolf and Tom are out there in the course shooting. I'm like, we don't even get an invite.
no.
Like it's cold. It really is. But
Uh-huh.
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Talk
hey,
a
I
little bit
saw a
about Men's
video.
Alliance
Oh, go ahead.
and how Men's Alliance has kind of played into these relationships and friendships for you.
Yeah, huge overlap. So Men's Alliance truly was the seed, like, originator of all this for me. So I went to church, did like the men's groups and that kind of thing in my hometown, but we didn't have anything like Men's Alliance, like guys that want to roll around in the dirt and go do a devotion around a fire, and that was
Hmm.
appealing to me. And my brother had been attending, so he says, "Hey, you got to come check this out." And so I came down with him and I check it out, and I was like, "Man, this is pretty cool." These are fun people, good energy. It takes a certain breed to get up, and be out there Saturday morning screaming and rolling around the mud. But yeah, just that community. Of course, I was coming, I guess, into or out of a hard season. I don't know how you want to look at that because I had a few back to back, but I was just going through some big changes in my life, and I had the time to go to war on myself. Like, I want to be around people that are going to push me to just be the
Hmm.
best version of me. And those guys, all of them were at Men's Alliance. I mean, the most influential relationships and people who that I can look to as role models, public servants, leaders in their home, leaders in the workplace, leaders in the church. They're all coming out of Men's Alliance, and so that was huge. And honestly, when I started Men's Alliance, there were only 12 tribes, right?
Yeah.
So, and now there's 300 some tribes in how many countries? So we got in there when, like, momentum was really starting to build, and all of York, PA was coming to that tribe. There were
Yeah.
80 guys there on a Saturday morning. So the energy
Yeah.
level was outrageous.
Yes.
And I mean, for a guy to be able to walk in there and be welcomed that way, having, like, never had any, like, I never made time for that. And just it changed so much for me. And then honestly, right after that, I went through the hardest season of my life, and those
Oh,
guys had just carried me. I mean, literally carried me through that season.
yeah.
um just I don't know. I think of it all the time. Like, I don't know what I would have done if I, like, had gone into that season not equipped with, just a bunch of solid dudes to help, usher me through that kind of pain and loss. And
Yeah.
just it was really incredible. you know
Yeah. And I think, both Goat and I have both grown in multiple ways through knowing you and watching what you've been through. Um, we'll do another podcast on day 80. Um, I mean, because that's a whole different story of just what God's done in your life, and through and how those things are helping other men, that are going through their own challenges in their own way. So, I'm excited to talk more about that on another episode. But that's one that'll be a little more raw, a little deeper.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
just wanted to talk about just the difference Goat Rodeo's made for you, and that the community that is surrounding that. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean the overlap there is crazy because all the guys who shoot bows in Men's Alliance are also now in Goat Rodeo. So,
yeah,
you know, it's like, well, Men's Alliance, you can't go shoot your bows in the church. So, yeah. So now we have an outlet, a healthy outlet.
yeah,
We can go, you know, it's just Goat Rodeo is incredible. I mean, TAC is fun because you get to go shoot a bunch of targets on a ski resort with your buddies. But
yeah,
Goat Rodeo, like it's like taking all things that appeal to a guy, like the competition, the physical challenge, you know, you guys pull faith and fitness together. You know, you got excellent sponsors, you got just an awesome just vibe, and it just integrates all of it so well that you know, you can't go there and not have fun, you know.
yeah.
So it's
Even if
just
you're carrying around a 200-pound litter.
yeah, yeah.
Did we ever talk about where that came from, Goat?
I think we did mention it, but we can certainly talk about it again since we have
Yeah.
a eyewitness with us
Well,
now.
that's right. Yeah. So the outfitter wasn't coming for us, right, Corey?
Yeah, so yeah, the outfitter was a day late and didn't know if he'd be getting us out, and we had strict travel plans. Like I literally, so I was starting my new anesthesia gig like
Yes.
the day we got back, right?
Monday. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this was
Like
like
literally,
Thursday, and
yeah,
he's
and you
like,
were
"I'll
opening
come
a
get
new
you
school.
Saturday."
You were like
Yeah.
opening
And
a
I
whole
need,
new
yeah, I was on borrowed time too.
Yeah, we had to get home. And I usually don't do that. I usually leave myself days of wiggle room. Like I'll stay back there, forget about me. Come for me when you feel like it, you know?
Yeah.
But I had to get out of there. And so we had this stupid idea that we were just going to carry all of our crap off the mountain. And so so we're down there lashing sticks together, built this litter, and we put all of our gear on it. Like all
Mhm.
except for a pile of rocks, right? So
Yeah. I did find them the next year.
yeah.
Yep. I got them back.
Yep. So yeah, Rodeo was carrying around a pile of rocks, and Goat didn't want to carry it off the mountain, so we buried
I'm not carrying
it.
your rocks.
Yeah. So
Carry your own
we,
rocks.
we built a litter, and then we strapped in, man, and we muscled down the mountain, and it's 0.93, 0.94 miles down to the horse trail
Mhm.
from that
Yep.
site. So
And we
we
could never
whew,
stay on the trail, so it's always over a mile.
yeah, tough one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yep.
we need to go back there and mark it because there's like the trail will stop and then another one
Yeah.
starts. But very very
Wait, did I
frustrating.
wait? Did I just hear Goat say we need to go back there?
I heard it.
Yeah, like
I heard it.
oh man,
I heard it.
yeah, I
See,
can't
I'm
back out of
I'm
that one.
I'm 5 years younger, and I'm just now getting to the point where I'm forgetting enough that talking to Corey, I'm like, one more time,
Just
One
one
more
more.
time, just one
one
more
more
time.
time.
One more. Yep.
Maybe I'm
I
gonna
didn't
have to
think I was
ride
going to lose you on that trip.
I'm gonna ride inside saddle though. I need to be able to walk when we get there.
Yeah, that's brutal.
Yeah,
Or
the
hey,
Actually,
horses.
you could try riding the side of the horse. You
so I'm
know,
doing something. Well, we actually saw before we rode in, a group was coming out, and there was a dude walking. He was walking his
yeah.
horse. I'm
Uh-huh.
like, might have to do that. Yeah, that.
Yeah,
Oh man, unless you get what was
Yeah.
that? Wes? Was that the horse's name?
and
I
they
think
would
so.
not. I begged every
Yeah.
satellite communication, every outfitter that like drove by. I'm like, can you please bring Wesley back for Goat? Like he needs this.
He
Nope.
wants
Oh,
his
good.
knees.
Steve would not rent out Wesley.
Oh
He's
Wes
man.
too
was
old to go
amazing.
that far. What about us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this year when we arrived at the camp, I had such a pain radiating from my ankle to my butt.
Oh
And it's
great.
you just come off of the horse so slow because you're not even sure if you can feel the ground, and you go to put your foot down, you're like, all right, we got contact. That's step number one, right?
Yeah.
And then, but you're like, I'm going to spend 10 days hiking on mountains, and right now I'm like, I want to cry from the pain in my leg. And
Yeah.
thankfully, it goes away. Like most pain does. It's only temporary. Pain never lasts.
Yeah.
But so we yeah, I would say, I mean, like Rodeo and I, we sat and we talked many times. Like, I mean, Rodeo, he's a planner. He's got, lists of stuff that we're going to do for the rodeo challenge. And the whole time you're planning it, we're building it off of experiences, things that we like, things that we didn't like. But there's the question of, is anybody else going to get it? Is this actually going to come off well? Is it going to work? What's going to happen? And that first year was, I think, really brutal on us. Like between the two of us, at the end of those, 4 or 5 days that it took to, get everything in, get it set up, execute, tear down, clean up, and stuff. It was questionable if we were going to do round two. It was
Yeah.
like,
Well, it was
oh man,
triple digits in August.
yeah,
It
yeah,
was
that was
it was pretty
horrible weather.
horrible. Yeah.
But then year two was like, because we had acquired some targets, we had already built the stands, we had a process down for scoring and how we were going to do things. We knew the area, the facilities, we knew what was going to happen. Year two pulled off a lot easier, and we could focus on actually having fun, right?
Yeah.
And so that Friday night challenge with you guys was just an absolute blast,
Yeah.
to watch you guys, struggle through the concepts, right? Because I mean, it's not like when I say struggle, I mean it's not like it's like this terrible ordeal that you're going through. It's just everything is a surprise about what you're doing and what you're going to have to do, and then you have to think on your feet. How are we going to accomplish this? And how do I accomplish this with 5 other people that I don't know who they are, right? So last year was an absolute blast. This year, looking forward to it again. Just like I think we have a pretty solid plan for Friday night. Saturday and Sunday will be slightly similar, but a few changes here and there. So we're really looking forward to doing it. Um, one of our key things is that Friday and Saturday morning men's alliance. And I say men's alliance with air quotes if I can get all the fingers up, because women that attend are invited to show up at that one as well, because it's just sitting around the fire. And I think it was year one that Axe brought his daughter out, and she was sitting around that fire, and she got to go through that workout with us, and then the devotional, and then after that she started going to Women's Alliance and just spending time with those ladies. And I'm not sure if she's still engaged or not, but that time of building in the morning, before, like, nothing to do with archery. This is just, we're going to be a bunch of ladies and guys that are going to work out together, and then we're going to sit around the fire, and we're going to be very vulnerable. And that vulnerability is, I think, one of the keys to everything that we've talked about. So, like,
Yeah.
if you hadn't been vulnerable with us about what it's like to be in Idaho, in a backcountry, by yourself and with others and struggling through life, and if you hadn't showed up at Men's Alliance willing to be vulnerable, right? Or if, same thing for us too, right? If you go to anything, TAC, Men's Alliance, hunting, and you're not going to be authentic about what you're really feeling and thinking, and really participating, like, you're not going to get it, right? You're going to get surface level. So did you see, like, the same people that engaged that way at the Go Rodeo, kind of flourish the same way? Or did you see the opposite? Did you see people who weren't necessarily, authentic, and then, it just didn't impact them the same way?
Yes, yeah. So that was actually a really cool observation. Both years in Goat Rodeo, we come in, you don't know anybody. I mean, I knew a couple of the MA guys, I knew you guys, but you guys were busy running it. So, like, you were the guys that I knew mostly, and you guys were taken away from me because you're doing it. So I'm observing and getting to know these other guys, and I saw guys who had no experience with Men's Alliance. Um, Kind of just fall right in. Like, Goat Rodeo was able to accomplish what Men's Alliance has been able to accomplish, um, just by the fun nature of the event. Having the workout in the morning is an awesome icebreaker. Everybody's out there rolling around. Everybody got involved. Specifically thinking of, like, Lucas and Gary and those guys that I just didn't know them, and they come in, and I'm like, we're all reading each other, like, who's a goofball, who's serious, who's who's here only to win, like because you're getting the target on your back.
Mhm.
And we had so much fun, and I watched those guys open up to the other guys, and we just formed these awesome relationships. And now, here we are. I mean, I'm making videos, like posting Gary's face on my wall in front of my bike, riding my bike with my bow, like with, giving him the old, we're just having a blast. So, but
Yeah.
I saw that process at work through the whole event. And, you know, we come back on year two and it's like, we're all buddies, like, and I don't see these guys, like they all go back to their states, and,
Yeah.
but man, they just open right up, and, all, conducive to the event and how we're partnered up and competing against each other and just the fun nature of it. Yeah, it really worked.
Yeah, I mean, we are really blessed with a lot of good guys that just come out to that event. I just, there just hasn't been anybody that you're like, this guy. You know what I mean? It's just
Yeah.
it every year. It's just been we've been really blessed with it. Even like up at Kika when I didn't go this past year, but there have been other years where guys came in from Ohio, and PA and stuff like that. Just the guys that show up, we had so much fun trash talking, around like the steel
Yeah.
targets and on the 3D course and different things. It's, um, I saw somebody like was kind of curious about Stewie's event. They're like, well, I'm a new shooter, should I come out? And it's like, dude, worst case, you're going to walk away with 10 new friends and maybe a dozen less arrows, but you're going
Yeah.
to be a better person from it. So just come on out, like come
Yeah.
out and experience a little bit of fun, a little bit of abnormal, behavior.
Well,
Have a good time.
yeah, and another point you should bring up, your buddy from Ohio, um,
Joe,
that first year, what's that?
was
Joe.
it Joe?
Oh yeah, it was Joe. When he took Bullseye under his wing, they were the party right behind me shooting. And
Yeah.
he had him dialed in, hitting these 3D targets, and you could just hear him hooping and hollering back there. And the reason
Yeah.
I bring it up is one, like, I'm just by nature, I'm looking in a lot. Like I'm selfish by nature. I know we all are, but I have to work to look out and to be more aware. Like, I'm not trying to be selfish, but I don't notice it. Like, oh, I could have helped that person or something. And Joe comes walking up and just, he goes to his truck, gets some tools, comes back down, starts tinkering with Bullseye's bow, and like, he just starts helping people. And like that's the community vibe of Go Rodeo. And then he helps him
Yeah.
through the course, and he had so much fun pouring into this kid and
Yeah.
just you know making him a better archer, but even more than that, just the way he served him that whole event. Just it, that's probably the biggest thing I walked away from that event, thinking like, and I poured that reflection out to you guys, like how we could all just be better servants for other people, and what a great example you guys did, and the guys that were at the event did, in just making me more aware of that. And it was just fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. That
We
was
talked
something special to see.
we talked a little bit about that this morning. It's like we miss opportunities to serve other people, right? You
Mhm.
you miss opportunities to do things, and it's basic. I think it's based on your expectation, right? If you walk into an event, and because I'm very guilty of this, a competitive event like that, you're walking in thinking about you, right? I'm thinking about my nutrition, I'm thinking about my sleep, I'm thinking about performance, I'm thinking about pacing, I'm thinking about everything. Like how did the bow do on the trip? How did whatever go on? I am the furthest thing from my mind is to think about how can I pour into somebody else on this trip, right? And
Mhm.
part of it is like maybe a false humility, like, well, I mean, really, who wants me to pour into them, right? But on the other hand, it's like, oh my goodness, like if you walked in there expecting to be able to help somebody, or just encourage somebody, or just talk to somebody, or just find out somebody's story, which is a lot, with these podcasts, like talking to John Mesner, we've talked to John briefly at different events, But, sit down for an hour from him and get, his history from, 2021 until 2026, just, what an eye opener into like, his life and his wife's life. And that's like, I think like maybe my goal as I get older is to do that, right? Is to start going into these events, thinking about like how much better life is going to be afterwards just by how much I can engage with other people, and convincing other people to engage, right? If you're not pouring into anybody else, if you're only, expecting people to pour into you, that's a pretty horrible life, right? That's a lot of isolation because everybody's going to, not meet your expectations. But if your expectation is, I'm going to walk in there and I'm looking for somebody that God's going to put in front of me that just needs my friendship, right? And I'll do whatever limited skills I have. That's what I'm going to do, right? So maybe I'm just going to be the guy on the Blackstone cooking up breakfast in the morning. Maybe that's all I'm going to do. Well, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it to the best that I can, right? So, man, it is yeah. I'm so grateful for guys like Joe that just set that example for us. They're like, I'm just going to pour into this kid that I don't have a clue who he is. I'm just going to pour into him for 3 days straight. I like that. That just teaches us all a lesson, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
man, we do have to address wardrobe. I think we had a listener call in with some questions.
Yeah, we did. Oh man, this
Caller
is
number 5.
this was protected Goat Rodeo chat information, and I did disclose to the Goat Rodeo chat that I was going to share with the Goat and Rodeo the questions. So
Okay.
there'd been
You
some
had that
debate.
list with you, Andy? I don't have it, but I think one
It's
of
burned.
one of the questions obviously is, when is it appropriate to wear shorty shorts?
Always.
No.
If you shoot a Matthews and wear Sika, you can wear shorty shorts.
Okay. True.
I think if you buy that combo package, it actually comes with a crossbow, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh man. Yeah, so there was short shorts, and the tight pants have been, I get a lot of heat for the running tights,
Yeah, do you remember last year during storytelling night? I think it was Bullseye that called you on it. He wanted to coin you so badly, and you got on like some nut huggers
They
and
were
some
short
other stuff,
shorts.
I think.
Oh,
And everybody's like, "There's no way this guy has this coin on him," and
They
you're
didn't
like
even have
digging through
pockets.
all your pockets, and then in the end you pull off your shoe and dump the coin out, and he had to
that was the
he had
best.
to do burpees, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you actually have yours with you right now?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Oh, you might have got
No.
me. You know what? You want to check under here?
No, I don't.
Oh
No.
No, I think I thought this was a men's line sanctioned event, so I left it outside that door jam, but
Oh,
I've
you
heard
can't leave
those
camera.
excuses before.
I think
You know,
I might owe you some burpees. That might be legit.
There we go.
yeah. Who was it? Raptor owed me some burpees, so I made him do them in the creek out here.
Oh, nice. Ooh.
But Rodeo and I were down at the I don't know if you've seen this battle axe in the background, but when Rodeo and I
Yeah.
won the Barbarian Games for our division, we were invited to the coaches table. No, but I'm sitting there with I think it wasn't Webb, was it? I forget who it was. Guy next to me, I didn't know him really well. He pulls out his wallet and he coins me at this table, and I'm like, "Dude, Men's Alliance event," and they're like, "Well,
Only
ask Goose."
tribe.
Goose is right there, and Goose is like, "No." He goes, "At your weekly tribe event, you are not
That's the
allowed to
only
coin
safe
people.
space.
Everything else is off the table." So I was doing burpees at a Men's Alliance event, sanctioned event,
Wow. Hey, that's
Next to
good to
Goose.
know.
right? I'm like, it's
That's
in the
good.
truck. I'm not risking losing it. No. You're
Yeah.
doing burpees. Like, oh.
I've heard stories. Yeah.
Yeah, it's horrible. But
Yeah.
yeah, we greatly appreciate. We've been trying to like coordinate our schedules to get this podcast out, and just it's life. Life has been getting in the way, but I really appreciate the time that you've spent with us. I appreciate your friendship. You taking us
Absolutely.
out to Idaho.
Yeah.
I think grand total we've spent 120 some odd hours in a car together now.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that might be more than I've ever spent with my kids or my wife. I'm not sure. But yeah, it's been a great pleasure to get to know you and your family over the years. I wish I was 20 years younger so I could still hang with you a little bit, just to see what's coming up. I know that we're going to try and get a bunch of more hunts in and a bunch more traveling and things, so I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, just greatly appreciate your help and participation in these events, man. It's just been great.
Oh, it's
Absolutely.
been a gift. It's been awesome.
Yes.
All
Yeah.
right, so we're going to cut out for now. We're going to start planning August's hunt in Arizona for some mule deer.
Oh yeah. I gotta go.
And,
I gotta go do burpees. So.
and you got to go do burpees. And don't forget to record those. But when you record them, if you could do it from the head and not from the tail,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
that'd be great.
That's a good idea.
Really appreciate that. So yeah, appreciate your time, guys. I'm going to hit the stop button, and then we'll figure out next steps.
All right.
Thanks,
Thank you,
everyone.
guys.